Meghan Markle in Paris.
Now let's have a look at Meghan Markle being weird and inauthentic.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Well, you know I'm Sussex now.
The white, on white Messiah gown, or some people call it the toilet paper gown.
Girl, let me tell you, Meghan Markle just had the worst week of her entire Paris era. I mean, Paris, the city of lights, fashion, and royalty-level glamour, basically turned its back on her. They mocked her, babe. Mocked her. A Backstage video started spreading like wildfire. And what it shows about how she was treated at Fashion Week. Brutal doesn't even begin to cover it.
Interaction with the Balenciaga creative director. Let's look at this.
Would you mind taking my
It's so cringe to watch, isn't it?
Very.
So awkward. But fans are slamming Meghan for this, calling her the Duchess of hypocrisy.
Borrowed clothes, cold shoulders, and an icy silence that had everyone whispering the same thing. How far will she actually go to become the next Diana? Because, honey, this wasn't just about fashion, it was about image, power, and legacy.
Awkward. Let's have another look at it.
And then came the tunnel moment. What happened there wasn't just controversial, it was calculated. And Paris saw right through it.
Spent the weekend there showing plenty of behind-the-scenes content. Now, let's just take a look at the Duchess strutting for the cameras.
From the outside, it looked like Meghan's big grand return to the spotlight. The cameras were rolling, the lights were perfect, and she strutted into Balenciaga's show like she owned the place. But inside, oh, it was a whole different story.
There was a lot of controversy around this brand and an ad that was seen as quite creepy that involved children.
Picture this, the front row of one of the most exclusive fashion shows on the planet. Meghan Markle steps in, head to toe in black, heels clicking across the marble floors. Photographers scramble, flashes go off. This should have been her moment. The kind of entrance that makes the room stop breathing for a second. But instead of gasps or admiration, silence. And not the glamorous, powerful kind. No, the uncomfortable kind.
It's time at the shallow shows where thin models and thick men wear stupidly expensive clothes. Why was she there? Why did she leave her husband and children in Montecito to be seen at Gay Paris' legendary ode to haute couture?
Stylists who were there said the whole mood just shifted the second she walked in. No smiles, no friendly greetings, just a room full of eyes. Watching, judging, calculating. One insider even said it felt like everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what would happen next. That's not how you treat a beloved fashion icon. That's how you treat someone you're not sure you even want in the room.
Were very creepy. They were offensive, actually, more than creepy, I think. And they were children posing with teddy bears in bondage gear. And Balenciaga's brand was in the toilet almost overnight, really.
And here's where it gets juicy. While Meghan posed outside, giving full red carpet diva energy, the whispers inside were ruthless. Editors, the same ones who usually trip over themselves to get selfies with celebs, stayed glued to their seats. Stylists who would normally rush in with compliments, they kept their distance like she was contagious. One person even said, nobody wanted to be photographed standing too close. In a world where proximity means power, Meghan had somehow turned radioactive.
The children were posed with teddy bears dressed in bondage-style gear. It was predatory, and Meghan Markle is accepting an award as Humanitarian of the Year on Thursday for protecting children online. She shouldn't be promoting a brand accused of predatory behavior.
But it wasn't just the frosty reception, oh no, it was what she was wearing, or rather, who it belonged to. See, in high fashion, when a designer adores you, they dress you. Custom pieces, tailored fits, garments made just for your body. That's the sign you matter. But Meghan's outfit? Borrowed samples, tags still attached. No alterations, no custom fit, nothing personal. She had to return it all by Monday.
How are you protecting children when you were promoting a brand that was accused of inappropriate behavior towards them?
Now, look, it's not being received well, certainly not as well as maybe she would have hoped, with some people labeling it a Zoolander war.
Now let's compare that to how Paris treats real icons. Rihanna gets entire collections made just for her. Zendaya? She's got creative directors styling her personally. Even Kim Kardashian, I'll love her or hate her, gets the full red carpet Balenciaga treatment. They don't just dress those women, They celebrate them. Meghan, though, she was handed showroom leftovers like she was at a clearance rack. One stylist didn't even sugarcoat it. Balenciaga didn't crown her, they said. They tolerated her.
Attention-seeking as ever, she wore one of his outfits, a weird, cascading, bright white affair that made her look like a scruffy version of the Pope after a night on the tile.
And let's not forget the elephant in the room, Balenciaga's baggage, the same brand that faced massive backlash for disturbing imagery involving kids, the one that had to crawl out of the ashes of public outrage. And there's Meghan Markle, the self-proclaimed humanitarian and child advocate, sitting front row, smiling for the cameras like nothing ever happened. The internet went feral. One viral comment read, "She's accepting awards for protecting children online while promoting a brand accused of exploiting them." Make it make sense, but wait, it gets worse. Because while Meghan smiled outside Backstage, a new rumor was spreading. And this one, it hit below the belt. People were whispering about an issue even her glam team couldn't fix. Some claimed it was a mix of cheap perfume and stress sweat. A stylist even joked, "You can fix foundation. You can't fix that whether true or exaggerated." The speed that rumor spread told you everything about how people felt. By the end of the night, no one was talking about Balenciaga's collection. Everyone was talking about her. And in Paris, a city that forgives scandal but never forgives bad vibes, that's social suicide. By the time she left that show, Meghan's reputation wasn't just bruised, it was cracked. And then came the drive. She climbed into a car, leaving the venue. And where do you think that car went? Not some random street, oh no, the Pont de l'Alma tunnel. Yes, the exact place where Princess Diana's life ended. Now her team swore it was just coincidence, just the route back to her hotel. But come on, this woman has built her entire public image around Diana. She's referenced her in interviews, copied her style, obsessed over her legacy. People who knew her before said she'd even watched Diana's funeral on repeat. She knows every detail, the jewelry, the speeches, the causes. So are we really supposed to believe she didn't know where that tunnel was? Please. The internet erupted. TikTok blew up with videos of Meghan's car in the tunnel, spliced with haunting clips of Diana's last moments. Twitter exploded with hashtags, some calling it a tribute, others calling it grotesque. One tweet summed it all up. Admiring Diana is one thing. Cosplaying her tragedy is another, and just like that, the line between admiration and obsession got shattered. But it wasn't just online outrage. Paris itself, the city that still adores Diana, took it personally. Local tabloids tore Meghan apart. French editors wrote entire essays questioning her motives. One paper said, "We are careful not to accuse, but unwilling to dismiss." And that, darling, made it even worse, because when people aren't sure if something was intentional, they assume the worst. Behind closed doors, fashion insiders whispered the same thing. Why keep chasing Diana's ghost so aggressively, so publicly, so desperately? One editor said it bluntly, "This isn't branding, it's obsession." To them, Meghan's Paris trip wasn't a comeback. It was a performance, a reenactment of Diana's life, one stage photo op at a time. And the irony? Crushing. Because instead of admiration, the tunnel stunt reminded everyone of one truth Meghan can never rewrite. Diana was loved because she was real. Flawed, yes, but authentic. Meghan's version feels rehearsed, calculated, like she's playing a part, not living a life. Paris saw it instantly, and they didn't like what they saw. Fans online were furious. Diana was loved, Meghan is pretending, one wrote. Others dragged Harry into it. If he cries every time he talks about that tunnel, how can she treat it like a photo op? That post alone got hundreds of thousands of likes, and suddenly the outrage wasn't just about Meghan. It was about what she represented, a woman using another woman's tragedy to stay relevant. By the end of Fashion Week, her appearance wasn't being praised, it was being dissected. Paris wasn't gossiping anymore, it was judging, and Meghan had no defense left. Let's rewind a bit, because this next part is where it all unravels. When Diana died back in 1997, those awful, heartbreaking images of her final moments weren't sold by British tabloids. Nope, they were bought and broadcast by CBS. Yeah, that's CBS, the American network that turned Diana's death into primetime profit. They showed the world what never should have been seen, and they made millions off her tragedy. And years later, guess who Meghan and Harry chose when they wanted to tell their truth? Yep, CBS, the exact same network. Can you even imagine the irony? People online were floored. How can you cry about media exploitation, one analyst said, then hand your story to the same company that cashed in on Diana's death? A fair question. one Meghan has never answered. Apparently, even Harry's friends tried to warn him. Some said sitting down with CBS was a terrible idea, that it would remind everyone of those images, that it would reopen old wounds. But Meghan, she reportedly insisted. And when Oprah's cameras started rolling, CBS got what they always wanted. Another royal scandal, another ratings goldmine. It wasn't history repeating itself. Meghan literally gave them the script. Critics called it hypocrisy in high definition. Online, people started dragging receipts. Old CBS headlines from the 90s right next to Meghan's Oprah clips. One viral post said, she blames tabloids for Diana's suffering but works with the company that aired her dying. Explain that. That comparison went viral, spreading faster than wildfire. Even PR experts started chiming in. One Hollywood publicist told Variety, authenticity sells, hypocrisy kills, and they weren't wrong. That CBS moment, the one that was supposed to humanize her, ended up being the crack in her public image, because if you build your brand on being a victim of the press, you can't turn around and make deals with the worst offenders. People notice. And once Paris saw that inconsistency, the illusion completely shattered. Now everyone was asking, was any of it ever real, or was it all just performance, a well-rehearsed act? Then came the whispers about her so-called humanitarian work. Apparently, staffers were not impressed. They described her as someone who wanted the credit, but not the grind, a person obsessed with optics but allergic to real work. Speeches, ghost-written, projects, recycled ideas from other initiatives, vision, non-existent. One former employee even said, she's a leader without a vision, just someone chasing headlines. Ouch. Add that to the CBS scandal and the Paris disaster, and the pattern became undeniable. A woman obsessed with her image, but careless with truth. Someone who wanted to be the next Diana, even if it meant exploiting Diana's memory to get there. And Paris? Paris didn't just expose that contradiction, it amplified it for the whole world to see. Because Paris Fashion Week isn't just about beauty and couture, it's a measuring stick for cultural power. Designers don't pick front row guests based on likes or popularity, they pick based on influence, on whether your presence elevates their brand or diminishes it. And in Meghan's case, her name suddenly screamed risk. She wasn't bringing glamour or prestige anymore, she was bringing controversy, and in fashion, that's deadly. By day 3 of Fashion Week, the gossip had turned into something darker, more personal, more humiliating. Forget the outfit, forget the tunnel. The whole conversation had shifted to one image, Meghan Markle standing alone. One photographer who's been covering fashion for years said, "I've never seen a Duchess look that isolated." And in that world, desperation is worse than obscurity. Meanwhile, the tunnel story was still haunting her. TikTok compilations were ruthless. Clips of Harry crying about Diana's death spliced with Meghan posing, waving, smiling, just miles from the spot where Diana took her last breath. One caption said, "He cries." She poses. That video hit millions of views in a day. Comment sections turned vicious. She's using his trauma as PR. This is sick. How can Harry stand by and watch? Cultural critics weighed in too. They pointed out that Diana's authenticity was effortless. She didn't need to stage compassion. She just was compassion. One writer summed it up perfectly. Diana was authenticity in motion. Meghan is simulation in still frames, and Paris saw the difference immediately. Then came the final blow, the ultimate social rejection. Word started spreading that other celebrities were being warned to keep their distance. A stylist even overheard a PR manager whisper, "Being seen near her right now is a risk." Let that sink in. In an industry built on connections, where your worth depends on who you're photographed with, Meghan had become toxic. People weren't just ignoring her, they were protecting themselves from her. For someone who built her brand on relatability and connection, this was catastrophic. She wasn't building bridges in Paris, she was burning them. Spotify had already cooled off. Netflix quietly trimmed back their projects. All those supposed new ventures? Nowhere in sight. The woman everyone once courted was suddenly being politely ignored. And Paris, that glittering stage she thought would reignite her fame, ended up sealing her fate.